Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a really clever story. It's all about meticulous planning, one fatal mistake, and a truly brilliant double cross. So, this whole thing really boils down to one classic question, right? Is there really any honor among thieves? I mean, when the pressure's on, does that unwritten code actually hold up? Well, let's find out. And to get to the bottom of that, we've got to meet our main character, a guy named Horace Danby. And let me tell you, he is a man of some very interesting contradictions. So, on the surface, this guy, Horace Danby, he's the picture of respectability. He's a successful locksmith, about 50 years old, the kind of person you'd totally trust with your house keys. But underneath that calm, quiet exterior, he's leading a complete double life. See, once a year, just once, he plans and pulls off a single, very high-stakes robbery. But here's the real twist. Horace isn't your typical thief. He's not driven by greed for money. Nope. His thefts are all meticulously calculated to fund his one true passion, collecting rare and expensive books. He steals just enough to keep his hobby going for 12 months, and then, like clockwork, he starts planning the next one. So, this year, all that methodical planning has led him to a place called Shotover Grange, a country house that looks like the perfect target. And you have to understand, Horace is a true planner. He's not some smash-and-grab opportunist. He's put in the work. We're talking 2 full weeks studying the house, memorizing when the staff comes and goes. He even knows the family dog's name is Sherry. I mean, every single variable seems to be covered. And the prize? It's a big one. Inside the safe are jewels worth about 15,000 pounds. That's more than enough to keep him in rare books for a whole other year. So, you can imagine he's feeling pretty smug at this point, kind of looking down his nose at the homeowners. And why wouldn't he be? A magazine article literally laid out the entire blueprint of the house for him. It even pointed out that the safe was hidden behind a painting. It almost feels too easy. But just as he's about to get to work, his one little weakness strikes. A big bowl of flowers on a table triggers his hay fever, and he lets out this huge sneeze. And that one sound, it changes absolutely everything. Yeah, that sneeze just shatters the silence, and it leads to a confrontation that was definitely not part of his super meticulous plan. And out of nowhere, a woman appears in the doorway. But get this, she isn't panicked. She's not scared at all. She is totally calm, composed, and there's this quiet firmness in her voice as she just looks at the startled Horace. She seems almost amused, not alarmed. And just like that, she takes complete control of the situation. Her calm vibe just totally disarms Horace, who, remember, was counting on the house being empty. So this tense little negotiation kicks off. Horace, he tries to get the upper hand back, makes a threat, but she doesn't even flinch. She just skillfully turns his own words right back at him, talking about how society needs to be protected from men like him. But instead of screaming or running for the phone, she does something absolutely brilliant. She presents him with a problem. She tells him she's the lady of the house and that she needs her jewels for a party tonight, but oops, she's forgotten the combination to the safe. Horace, well, he sees a way out. This could be his escape route, so he eagerly agrees to help her. And right there, in that moment of desperation, he makes a huge, irreversible mistake. She casually asks for a cigarette, and Horace, in his rush to please her, to seem helpful and get out of there, he takes off his gloves to flick his lighter for her. Just like that, his #1 rule, never take off the gloves, is completely abandoned. And we all know what that means. Fingerprints. They're undeniable proof. By taking off his gloves, he's basically just signed his confession all over the place, on the cigarette lighter and soon all over the safe itself. So he gets to work, cracks the safe in under an hour, hands over the jewels, and then walks right out the door. He's feeling relieved, even happy. He's convinced he just masterfully talked his way out of a long prison sentence. But Horace's relief is not going to last long. Just 2 days later, the brutal truth of what really happened that night comes crashing down. For 2 whole days, he keeps his promise to her and lays low, just waiting for things to cool off. But on the morning of the 3rd day, there's a policeman at his door. He's under arrest for the jewel robbery at Shotover Grange. And the reason for his arrest becomes painfully, horribly clear. That charming young woman he met, she wasn't the owner at all.
The real mistress of the house is a 60-year-old woman with a very sharp tongue, who says his whole story is absolute nonsense. He was tricked by another thief, one who masterfully played on his assumptions.
And so Horace ends up right back in prison. And the irony is just perfect. He's working as an assistant librarian, surrounded by the very books he loves but can no longer afford. All his meticulous planning wasn't undone by the cops or a fancy alarm system. It was undone by someone in his own profession who just played the game a whole lot better. Which, of course, brings us all the way back to that first question we asked. For Horace, the answer is crystal clear. There is absolutely no honor among thieves. He was outsmarted, he was used, and he was left to take the fall by a con artist who understood human psychology way better than he understood locks. So that leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? Who was actually the better thief here? Was it Horace, the methodical planner who stole for a very specific passion? Or was it the charming manipulator who saw an opportunity and just seized it, no questions asked?